Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Airgun Geeks. We are so happy to have you join us. Tonight, we're going to talk about some really interesting things. We have some updates from the magical world of RMAC, where our very own Patrick was competing there and actually did quite well. He made it into the finals in the pro class of speed shooting. So, Patrick, tell us about your experience with your first major competition. I know I got to see it firsthand, but I'd much rather hear your perspective.
Well, it was definitely a fun perspective. So, our goal, of course, was to have fun and not come in last. That
Mm.
was the main thing. And that sort of happened at the very end. But went in to do 100-yard bench. And the tool of choice was, of course, my impact with a custom barrel from Troy Hammer and a Hot Sun air stripper. So I wanted a true Frankenstein barrel.
Hmm.
And I was shooting 25.39 JSB redesigns. The first day, a little nerve wracking, but then I got behind the gun and I said, let's have some fun. So practiced, got some ciders out there, had a blast. Says, okay, we're going to do this. Just started punching paper. It's the first time ever doing this. Had tons of fun. And then I'm like, you still got like 20 minutes left. You got 5 targets left. So let's enjoy these 5 targets.
Mm.
So I took my time, read the wind, did all the stuff you're supposed to do, and did okay. I was not last.
Hey,
But I was
first time out in the pro class
mhm,
to not be last, I think is that is a huge achievement, honestly.
I agree. I think I was 119th total
Hmm.
out of all the shooters. So I had some fun with that. And then the winds were, of course, ridiculous. Um, I'm glad I wasn't the other heats because it got worse, the wind.
That certainly
Then the next
separates the men from the boys at RMAC is that famous RMAC wind.
that wind is something. Yes, yes, definitely. So watched everyone else shoot, watched all the different guns, and there was some exotics, aka the red panda. And we'll
Mm.
get to that a little bit later. I'm like, what is that thing? Um, Shooting, I think it was 30 caliber. I was, of course, 22. There was a couple other 22s, a couple 25s. I'm like, all right, good mixed bag here this year. Um, Enjoyed the evening. We met up, I think it was the next day you came into town.
Mhm.
So I got to chat with you and see how things are going. And then did my second heat, and it was like there was no wind that day when I was shooting. And I was like, I felt really good with that one. Long story short, ended up getting 5 X's.
Mm.
I was ecstatic.
Heck yeah.
I think the score was one, I think it was a 177, if I remember right, which again was nowhere near last. I was actually close to the top. I think I was sixth out of 20. So that wasn't bad. Definitely I knew wasn't good enough to make it to finals, and I didn't expect to go to finals. Um, but I was really proud because I did better than the day before. And I took my time and I had tons of fun. But the most fun I had was when I went in, what was it? Saturday morning, I think it was. I
Hmm.
don't know, days go together. But they had, I was standby for speed shooting. And then like 30 people didn't show up.
Wow.
So they're like, go get in line, go inside, get your stuff and let's get going. So I was like, okay. So I grabbed my Leshy, 30 cal Leshy, 350 millimeter barrel with an immersive optics 10 by 40, fixed prism scope, and says, let's go have some fun.
And
And
just to clarify for our listeners that may not know the unique functional aspects of the Leshy, he actually has to open up the stock, which is
yeah,
also the air reservoir, to change his magazine and then close it back up and get back on target. So it's not a trivial reload on that gun. Now, where he had the really distinct advantage is that it is a killer semi-auto.
Mm-hmm.
The shooting speed that you can achieve with that gun is outstanding. And I kept trying to coach Patrick, but we've got to work together a little longer than a few minutes before he shoots
Correct.
because I
Correct.
kept trying to tell Patrick, you are your own worst enemy. Slow down, relax, just let this happen. And if he, I know that you could have made every one of those shots without fail. I know you could.
Mm-hmm.
So had you done that, you wouldn't have needed to reload, and you would have had such a huge advantage through all of those events. But you go ahead and tell the rest of your speed shooting story because it gets better in the finals.
It does. It does. It does definitely. So I was like, this is the gun I use for pesting all the time. So it's a lot of offhand and instinctual shooting. So I'm
Mhm.
like, I went and zeroed, made sure everything was fine, and it's hitting where I'm aiming. And what was nice is I could see the pellet. So I'm like, okay, but let's not miss. And like you said, I was the worst enemy was myself right in the beginning. Um, but I got some coaching by another nice guy who had some conversations with while we were setting up the day before, and he's like, just slow down and and just pull the trigger when you feel you should, and just do it. Just calm down, have fun. So I did that, and the first lane was the speed lane. So you got to knock all these paddles down, and you got to get to the middle one and knock it down before the other guy. But I lost the first round, and I'm like, okay. And then that's when I got talked to, and I'm like, all right. So then went forward and went bink, 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 and Ban had that extra one left, just like you said, Bill. And I'm like, all right. So then I had to do it again. So then I was like, now I want to challenge myself because now the nerves were gone. And it was just bink, 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 bink. And they were like, geez, oh man. They looked at me like, I'm only on the third one and you're done. So I was like, okay. And I was shooting with
I think
some other
somebody
first
was on the
times.
phone to the Mormon church trying to get an exorcism or something out there. What are you doing with that Russian gun?
The funny thing is Justin was like, I'm probably gonna get yelled at for letting semi-autos in here. And I'm like, well, we'll see how good I shoot. So, but as we were going, I was teamed up with Lauren Parsons,
Mhm.
and she was a first timer ever in the speed. And we had fun. We got to shoot against each other, and I was like having fun. And I was like, I kept winning, kept winning, kept winning, kept winning. And then we're sitting down, and you and I and I think it was PJ, we're just BSing, and Thane Sibbons comes over and says, "Hey, congrats, you made it to the finals." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "Speed." Like, really?
Yeah. There's
And
Pat's name up in lights on the big jumbotron.
I'm like, "Wow!" And then this started, and you're like, "Just stop that. Just relax, be yourself."
Mhm.
And we had many conversations. But a funny part that you didn't get to experience, but I told you about, Bill, was I got to stay with the Saber Tactical / Donnie team, and Thane's sitting at the table, of course, weighing out his pellets. And he goes, "Oh, did you hear you're against Bagakis tomorrow?" I'm like, "Oh," he goes, "You're done." I'm like, "What?" He says, "You're already writing me off." He goes, "He's good." I go, "And I'm not." I had some choice words for him. Fun banter back and forth. And I was like, all right, so we're gonna have some fun. So then the next day comes for finals, and we're watching everyone. I totally forgot that like everything stops and everyone watches. So this this is where my stage fright starts coming in.
There are
So,
bleachers.
bleachers,
Yeah.
cameras everywhere.
Not just
So
little dinky cameras either, not just us
no,
YouTubers running around. There's full on production television cameras
correct.
on this event at that level.
And and you and I are talking, and I'm like, I'm just here to have fun. Just gonna do whatever happens, and we're gonna have fun. So we go, and I'm watching and I'm
Okay,
watching. I'm
listeners,
like,
I
all
want
right.
to let you know a little secret. he was out of his effing mind.
I was.
He was not this persona of calm that he's projecting here. He was absolutely manic. So
Oh, it was caged up at this point in time inside, but the eyeballs were giving it away. And then I get up there and I'm like, all right, it's my turn. And I'm like, okay, just do it. And then I start putting different scenarios in my head on when to reload and all this other stuff, which I should not have done. I changed things. That was bad. So I go through the first time and I blow through it. Boom, 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 boom. And I go and knock the paddle down. Empty clip. You could hear the whole crowd go, oh. And I try and reload, which I'm fast, but I ain't that fast. And it fell right behind Bagakis. And I'm like, oh. So I go to reload and get ready for the next round. And this is where Pat totally fell apart. I could have made the best margaritas on how much my hands were shaking. It was ridiculous. I'm looking at my hands going, what are you doing? And I'm laughing at the same time. And Jim, the director, was there, and Ken Hicks was there, and they're like, calm down and breathe. You're fine. But when I turned around and saw all the cameras and all the people, I mentally, which we've talked about, and I first experienced mentally preparing for that situation.
mhm.
And I went, I'm not prepared, but I'm going to try and do my best. And well, you had to shoot from the outside in, and I went from the inside out. And they're like, you're shooting it wrong because they can't help you. And I'm like, what is going on? But I shot it so fast. I was like, what the hell's going on? And it was like watching the Hindenburg come out of the sky in slow motion. And I'm like, can this just end? And it did. Bagakis won.
And
But
truth be told, you still had the slimmest of chances after the
yes.
first faux pas.
Yep.
You could have pulled it, at least gotten it close, but you shot the same pattern the same way.
What I should have just stopped and says, you go from the outside in, but this is where mental preparedness
Absolutely.
comes in. Fight as you train, train as you fight. I had zero training in that environment, and everything, and just all of a sudden went real narrow,
Mhm.
and you're lost.
Yeah.
It just happens. Now, thankfully, it wasn't my old career as law enforcement, and it went real small because I'm not going to die, so there's that. But that's where your training and all of that comes in, even for these competitions, because you got people watching, you want to do your best. It's a lot of muscle memory. It's that whole, like, when we talk hunter field target, the guy puts his butt pad down, then his bum bag, and then he sits a certain way, and he talks to himself a little bit, and he moves his hand this way, and he does this, and it's all his process. And you disrupt that process, and he misses, and it's all types of issues. So,
Well, and if I can comment on that really
sure.
quickly, because this has really helped my field target game. It's that mantra that you develop when you train, that that repetition of that mantra, you know, am I comfortable? Have I ranged my target? Is my scope level? Load the pellet, relax, breathe, squeeze the trigger. When you go through that and visualize that every time you practice, when you get to the match, all the nerves in the world shouldn't be able to intrude on that very much.
Mm-hmm.
Although the level of nerves you had might have still affected that. And I think Bugakis got in your head. And I don't blame you. I mean, he is an outstanding shooter. He shoots at my club for field target.
Mm-hmm.
So when he shows up, I'm like, all right, maybe second today. And
Yeah.
I have gotten a second to John Bagaka. So I
Mhm.
that's my feather in my cap. But um, it is definitely about keeping your head in the game and keeping that Zen moment of
Mhm.
it's just you and the shot. And when all of that other crap comes in, that's that's when you come unglued, and that's when it really gets hard. I think it was my second or third field target match, and I was trying out this new tripod stool, and I went to sit down on it, and my fat butt kind of missed that really tiny little tripod,
Mhm.
and I went over backwards. And of course, I still have one of the super light barrels on my Mark II Crown, and I smacked that off the steel support for the roof for the range. And I was an inch and a half off at that point at 30 yards. I totally tweaked that barrel. And I'm like, I was in exactly the same place you were in that mentally I had already checked out. I was like,
Mhm.
this has gotten out of hand, and I was not able to get back in that groove and get that focus back. So I mean, it definitely happens, but next time you'll be like, you know what? Pat's been here before. Pat's been to
Mhm.
the finals in the pro. So this is old hat. And John Bugakis who? Uh,
Exactly.
yeah.
And the funny part is we talked at the banquet, and he was like, "You're a really good shot. You're going to be something next year." He goes, "The nerves just got to you. Don't
Mhm.
let it get to you." He says, "Is this your first time?" He said, "I said, yeah." He says, This is your first time shooting a gun that's never been shot here before, and you made it to the finals. You're already a winner."
Yeah. Oh,
And I thought that was mighty nice of him.
I could not agree more.
Yeah. And there were a couple other people who came up and says, what was that gun you were shooting? So then, the salesman side of me goes and shows them it says, it's an Ed gun and it's this one. And they're like, how'd you load it so fast? So there was some nice little ego things going on at the bank, but it's very nice. Um, I was crucial of myself, but I wanted to make sure I learned from it. And I had my pity party. you know, I was upset. I wanted to go farther. I wanted to shoot more and show what I can do. And I go, I know I'm better than this, but that was my time. That was my opportunity. That's what God gave me for that part of my life in air gunning.
Mhm.
And I'll come back bigger and better next year. Just learn from it. So
But you still managed to pull off a win, right?
I did.
You
Yeah.
you gave me my first letter in the No Dose Challenge, you jerk.
So just as a reminder to everyone, and the videos are up, the challenge that Bill had was you had one shot at a Coke or Bud Light can of your choice, beer can, at 40 yards, and it had to be offhand.
Well, the only thing
So
that Bud Light crap is good for is target practice.
that and putting fires out, I've been doing that for years,
Yeah.
so nothing
Yeah.
with the current stuff,
Yeah.
anyways. I call it pea water for a reason. Um, but yeah, I got it on video with one shot, and Bill did not. So the letter A.
No, I got the
Are we
letter
doing G? Or we're doing
the
the
letter
G's? Oh,
G.
short version.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
geeks.
Geeks. Yes. So you got a G.
Pat, it
And
would take us like 2 years to finish this if we had to spell Airgun Geeks. At the rate we're going, we need to pick up the pace.
this is so true. This is so true. So since you touched on how fast we're going and how many podcasts there have been, first I want to thank everyone for, hey, are you guys okay? Where are you guys at? We miss you. What's wrong with you people? Are you going to come back? All of the above. So during this lovely recording that we're doing today is July 25th, right, Bill?
Yep, correct.
2023.
No,
I'm in the process. Yeah, is it 2023? Yeah, the year hasn't gone by yet. I'm in the process of taking all of my roots and putting them in boxes and head to Florida next Thursday, August 3rd.
mm,
So that's why you have a blurred fan background right here. So I appreciate those watching the video. Um, Pulled stuff out of boxes to do this recording and get everything going out a little bit more. Just let people know that Bill and I are okay.
Yeah.
Just life has
And
really grabbed a hold of us.
two other updates on the topic of content for this year. I know
Mm-hmm.
some folks have been kind of critical that, hey, you guys only did two episodes this year. What's going on? Man, they're angry. I mean, it's beautiful to me,
Mm-hmm.
not that they're angry, but that they're hungry for this content.
Correct.
That is absolutely endearing to me, and I take that very seriously. So don't think that we're not considering these comments very seriously, because we are. I want to
Mm-hmm.
let you know that we have an enormous amount of content recorded. What would you say, Pat? Easily 5 hours of content right now.
Oh,
With the one I gave you yesterday, probably almost six.
oh,
So
the special guest. Yes. Many.
yes,
Yes.
we have got a
Mm-hmm.
ton of content. We're buttoning it together, and it should be hot and heavy, especially once Pat gets his studio set up in
Mm-hmm.
Florida. And if Pat doesn't get that done quickly, I'm gonna hop a plane to Florida and I'm gonna set up his studio so that it's done, and we can keep rocking and rolling, because we do really feel for our fans, and we want to make sure that we are regular with the content, and we're going to get on track. You have a commitment from both of us that we're gonna stay true to that. I have been hammering Pat for a plan, and Pat owes
Mm-hmm.
me a plan, and we're going to have a plan, and we're going to stick to that plan. And even all of the storms in Ohio won't be able to keep Patrick from his appointed rounds.
Well, there, I won't have to worry about the storms in Ohio because I'll be in
No, you just
Florida.
have the
Thank God.
hurricanes in Florida. That's all.
The hurricanes. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Well, we'll be on the road as we're exiting, as Bonnie would say. But yeah, no, I like doing the podcast just so everyone knows this is an enjoyment for Bill and I.
Yeah.
It's a vent. We get to go in a little bubble and we get to talk about something that we're very passionate about. Um, and it sparked a lot of other things um, that like the notos and little mods here and there, like your little Doomajiggy that you came out with. That was a slick little thing. And then making, I guess you might make one for the car magazines,
Yeah.
possibly.
I'm working on that.
Yeah, because those are nice magazines.
Mhm.
Um,
I'll tell you
but
what, if you
yeah.
want to improve your Nodos, if you have one, it's first of all, it's a great gun for the money. I'm not I'm not
Mm-hmm.
I'm not hammering on the Nodos, but I can tell you how to make it a great gun for the money. Um, my Nodos now has the Nodos doodad on the front, which is the mag holder. But the first thing you want to do is you want to get rid of the stock magazines that come with that gun, because they are A, rubbish, and
Mm-hmm.
B, I believe they adversely affect the accuracy of the gun. Not much, but there's definitely an impact there. And the CARM magazines, or the CARM single shot loader, are definitely the way to go to get more out of that gun.
Mm-hmm.
And they absolutely slicken up that cycle of the reload. I mean, you would be surprised. Take your Nodos and cycle that bolt without the mag in it. That's how it should feel.
Correct.
It shouldn't feel like you're going down a gravel road on a motorcycle, except you're not on the motorcycle. That's how a Nodos feels with the mag in there. The car magazine takes a large percentage of that away. So car magazine, big upgrade. Um, I have been working on a re-envisioned geometry for the trigger on that gun, and Patrick has the second prototype of that. And it is transformative for that gun, and
Yes.
actually allows you to honestly adjust it in a way that is safe. It's a two-step process, and I have a video that I'm working on to make that, so anybody can do it, or buy the trigger from me, or whatever you want to do. But um, it really turns that into a really nice little gun.
It completely shocked me when I was out to shoot it. I'm like, oh my gosh. And I just kept shooting it. And I'm like, and I don't have the scope on or anything. And I was like, I think I shot it like 60 times at work
Oh
today.
my gosh.
And then everyone else was pulling the trigger and they're like, where do I get this trigger? I said, I might know someone.
I
Just
might
be
know a guy.
patient.
I might know.
Yeah. And the best thing is everyone was like, I didn't even notice how it was made. And it's 3D printed.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah. And then look at the safety and how that's done. And they're just like, yeah, I want this. I'm like, yeah. So I think it's going to increase my accuracy in popping them iguanas and whatever's in front of it. But yeah, I'm excited for all of that. But that is a slick little gun.
Hey, before we get too far out in the weeds, Pat, let's get to what the next challenge is going to be. The next challenge is to you.
Sure.
So you tell us what we're going to be shooting next with our Nodos, and then we'll move on to today's special guest because I
Sure.
gotta say, I this is a high watermark for me in my short podcasting career. This was a big moment to get this guy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to say who it is yet, but Pat, let's cover your challenge for this month.
All right. All right, Bill. And anyone else that wants to play along. The
Yes, please do.
challenge is um well, one, you have to have your no limits target. So those of you that have that will help. But if you don't, and you have someone else's no limits target, that works too. So you're going to put that out. I think we agreed 45 yards.
No. Okay.
Okay. You get a practice run on, it's got to be on film. And then you got to go as far as you dare.
Hmm.
You got to know your limit.
So
So,
let's talk about the point structure. Is it
mhm,
1 point per target, working left to right, biggest to smallest, right? So it's
correct.
1 point per target, and it's cumulative until you miss. Then you lose everything. So you're
If you
either going to get a
miss,
number
mhm,
score or you're going to lose, and then it's my score versus your score.
correct,
Okay.
correct,
And it's from the
correct,
bench, it's from bags, whatever rest you want, you can use in this challenge, right?
correct.
Okay.
However you want to support it. Yes, because this is precision now
Okay.
with our little no toses. Now, once you make it all the way through, or you're
Hey, why
like,
did I give you a trigger ahead of this? This is
I
crap.
know, right?
I should have
That
kept
was
that
my
to
plan.
myself.
So there has to be a tiebreaker. So we don't have to come back and do a tiebreaker. So if you stop,
How will we know?
well, we won't. That's the thing. So we're going to cover our bases.
Okay.
So you're going to go as far as you can. And if you clear it, try and hit the smallest one again. So if you miss the smallest one, okay, fine. But if I clear it and I hit the smallest one, then obviously I would win. So that way it's all done in one take. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Just as an insurance policy, if you would, because I know you're a good shot.
All right.
So I could be better,
I
even though I
honestly
have no
wish
letters.
if I had Freya for this challenge, I'd be breathing easy. But
I know, right?
I'm not going to have that little sweetheart for this. So we'll have to muscle through. Okay, that's fantastic, Pat. Thank you for an awesome challenge, and I do want to invite again the Airgun Geeks listenership to join in the fun here. Um, Email us, send us that footage, send us a link to it. Whatever you want to do, it'd be great to get some other people involved in this challenge, and we promise we will be more regular with the performance of these.
Correct. And what I'll do is I'll go on the Facebook page and I think I can pin it, the challenge for the Notos. I'll get that up. Uh, I'll get that up as soon as possible so that we can add in, you can add, whoever's listening and wants to join can add. All right. So
Oh boy, here we go.
drum
What
roll,
I've been waiting
please.
for.
The moment you've been waiting for. You and I had the delighted privilege and honor
Yeah.
to lasso in Mr. Ted's holdover, the infamous Ted Beer.
And what's astonishing about this is Ted is probably the one YouTuber that has really brought more people to
Mm-hmm.
the airgun hobby. There's lots of really good YouTubers out there. PJ Clark, the Wisconsin air gunner. Ted, who is also technically the other Wisconsin air gunner.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, honestly, these are great guys. But Ted and his style, his no BS videos of this is what I do. If you don't like it, don't watch it. But here it is.
Correct.
Ted being vigilant and keeping those damn squirrels out of grandma's bird feeders. Um, you know, and taking care of the pests on the farm. He's getting stuff done. He's been a little light on his content lately. I think that may be picking up after we hear some of his talk in this recording at RMAC. So forgive all the chatter in the background and the announcements and everything else that's part of capturing the energy of RMAC. So enjoy this upcoming footage that Patrick and I recorded while we were at RMAC.
Exactly. It was a complete honor and a privilege that he sat down with us.
Yeah. So Pat, without any further ado, let's roll that footage.
All right, Bill. I got the myth and the legend and the reason I got into air gunning about 14 years ago. I got Ted Beer from Ted's Holdover here.
I'm pretty sure that guy has brought more people into air gunning than any other single person. Because you can't talk to anybody who hasn't seen a Ted's Holdover video.
I've just been around forever. I'm really old.
He's the OG of OG.
He's the Godfather. That's what
no,
I've heard
that's-
around here. Well, there's that's Tom Gaylord. I understand,
yeah.
but then there's the Godfather of videos.
Yeah, that very much is true. You've been a force on YouTube for a long time.
I have been Flo, but I've been here the whole time for the most part. Yeah.
Yeah.
If I have a legacy that I would like more than anything, Godfather this, videos that,
Yeah.
it would be the legacy of setting the tone for this hobby, the sport, to be fun. That don't take ourselves too seriously. We're supposed to be smiling. We're supposed I mean, obviously be safe. Don't be an idiot. But
Right.
But no, this is.
Don't shoot your eye out.
If you're not having fun, you're doing it wrong out here.
Yeah.
That's my motto, and don't come in last. That's the two mottos I have.
Have fun, don't come in last.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. It's worked so
It
far.
seems reasonable.
So for those that don't know you, who don't know you, who is Ted Beer?
Ted Beer is a farm kid that turned his love of the natural world into a career, and then came back to air gunning 25 years after I abandoned it for firearms. And I came back to it because air gun, you can do things with these air guns that you can't do with firearms. All too often people are always saying, you've seen probably on many videos, I could buy a real gun.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, can you take your real gun into a barn, take out the vermin in there, and not cause a stampede with the dang steers?
Yeah.
Or can you take your real gun and tone it down to an energy level that you don't have to put it through the prey and in through something that you don't want to go into,
Sure.
side of a barn, something like that.
Sure.
Air guns are a tool.
Yeah.
And I consider them, if you're getting surgery, you would have a doctor there, and would you rather have him operate with you with a machete or a scalpel?
Right.
Air guns are the scalpel
Yeah.
of the firearms world.
Yep.
That's how I think.
That is a great analogy. Yeah.
That's good, yeah. I've always said my air guns are more accurate than my competition powder burners.
Yeah. Less energy, more accurate.
Yeah.
That's a scalpel.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow. So to make you more human to some people. So I see you got your children involved now, or they've wanted to be involved. We were talking about this yesterday.
Yeah.
And your face lit up that they were excited to be part of it.
I am excited. Those little buggers have given me a shot in the arm, and they've for many years said they want to be a part of it. But I'm not one to thrust the camera on my kids until they're old enough to understand
And
how to
want that decision.
right, to manage
Yeah.
their online presence. So, in short, I wouldn't let them be on until they understood all that comes with it. And that doesn't mean that the internet's an evil world. It just means I need them to understand that these things last forever when you put them online.
Sure.
So be ready for that, and be ready for the occasional jerk.
Yeah.
And your dad will buy a plane ticket and go kick the crap out of him for you. Yes, but they are. I didn't think my daughter wanted to be a part of it, and she immediately said, "Why not, Dad? Why haven't you invited me?" And I felt like a jerk immediately. I'm like, "Absolutely, girl, come on in." I'm sorry. The boy, he likes YouTube, and his friends, they're going crazy. They think he's the coolest kid at school right now. So
Oh my gosh.
it's only going to add fuel to the fire for that.
I think you've created some monsters there, Ted.
What's that?
You've created some monsters
Yeah,
there.
they are. They're wonderful, fun monsters.
That's
They're both-
excellent.
they're both at that age right now where I'm still their hero, and I'm gonna make that last as long as I possibly can.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, the boy's name is Levi, and next video will be a lot of me and him, and he's a natural. The kid's a friggin' natural. So I look
That's
forward to
excellent.
people meeting him and seeing him, and just seeing like what you said, the human side of this. Yeah. My very first video, I was sitting on my floor, taking a gun apart, and my daughter, who was colicky then, was 1 month old, so she cried 22 hours a day. And I remember I whispered the whole time I'm taking this gun apart. It was that gun mandatory.
Don't want to wake her up.
I'm whispering the whole time because I don't want to wake my daughter up.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember.
But yeah, happy to have him on board, and it definitely a shot in the arm for me. It makes the whole process a lot more fun.
Yeah, and a lot rewarding too.
Yeah.
Because now that they want to be part of it. All right, so I know you like to shoot. What competitions are you shooting in this year here at RMAC?
Yeah, I dialed it back this year. I spent a lot of last year transitioning my life, so to speak. I retired from my job as a biologist at the University of Wisconsin, and I simplified my life. I got happier and more content, and easier, simpler life, and a much happier Ted. So I spent a lot of the last year working on myself a bit, working on family, and getting everything in place for a good retirement around here toward the end. Not gonna pick that up.
Oh yeah, it's fine.
Okay,
It's
okay.
all background noise. It's normal.
So this
People
year I
love
only did 100 yards, but next year I'm going to be more involved. I felt the shot in the arm. I actually thought that I didn't, because I'm not. I used to be in the mindset where if you don't come with your absolute A game, then you shouldn't come. And I've rethought that. I think I'm wrong to think that. I missed forest for the trees. I didn't take my own advice. It's supposed to be fun.
Right.
It's like, so yeah, Ted, and I got to give myself a stern talking to once in a while. You know? hey, yo-yo. No, so I'm watching them, of course, and I'm envious. I'm regretful that I didn't sign up for them. So only one this year. This is the 100 yard, and it did fair, but I did not make the finals. But to be very, very honest with you, I've never done poor at a competition, and I've had the absolute most fun this year. I've had a big fat smile on my face the whole time.
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain it. Maybe the change in life that I did in the last year, kind of changing my lifestyle and my priorities. And
It sounds like you've decoupled a lot of stress.
yeah, it was.
That's a huge plus.
COVID tested all of us, didn't it? One way or the other, whether you got it or not, it taxed the world.
Sure.
And sometimes it's kind of hard to break out of that BS, and you need to remind yourself that that was a bump in the road. Let's move on here, and let's not let that control our, because it sets you in a mindset. Maybe it creates more anxiety. Maybe it makes you more stressed out. It's over now. So now's the time to get on with life. We endured that crap, so we could get on with life.
Right.
Now, for the love of Pete,
Right.
let's get back to the fun.
Yep.
And it took me a little longer than some. Now we all got affected differently, and but now it's evaporated. That crap is out of my head, gone, and I am looking forward. And I didn't really know how much it was out of my head till I came here, and I'm like my face hurts at night from smiling so much.
That's good. That's good. So what airgun are you using? Everyone wants to know.
For competition, I still use the Impact as my bread and butter. If they ever find like a competition that's like offhandish and short range-ish, I will have that Wildcat for sure. But for most competitions, it's hard for me to beat the impact. I haven't gravitated toward the Panthera. It's a long gun. It's not a bullpup.
Yeah.
I'm not a big dude. I'm 5'8", 150 pounds.
Yeah.
So I don't want to carry around a pole vault.
Correct.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
the more traditional guns that needed a 700 millimeter barrel to be, effective and accurate, I'm afraid I'm going to put the muzzle in the ground when I carry them. So impact is my gun now, and for the foreseeable future, it'll stay my gun.
Cool. So I think this is the 5th year for RMAC.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
How many have you gone to?
Every one of them. I've been to every RMAC.
You are the only one so far.
Really?
From all the big shots we've had on
Yep.
that have come to all 5.
Now, in their defense, it wasn't open to international that 1 year, 2 years ago. It was only domestic, I think, something like. Oh no,
Very
no.
fair.
Yeah. To be fair, I'm just trying to keep things level. But I'm not going to miss RMAC.
Yeah.
If I didn't shoot, if I had 2 broken arms, I'm still going to be at RMAC.
That's cool. All right. So this is an interesting one, and I'm very curious. So why, in your opinion, should people come to RMAC, whether they're competing or not?
Because there is a lot to learn just by having conversations with the people around you. Let me give you an actual story about this. A gentleman, I won't say his name because I don't know if you're, anyway, a very nice gentleman was in Sportsman, and he got his butt kicked in the Sportsman competition the first year. And he realized he has a lot to learn. This clever man takes the next year off. He hasn't qualified for pro, but he doesn't want to shoot Sportsman because he wants to pick the brains of the pros. He takes a year off, and he powwows with us up in the pro area, picks our brains. Of course, we're more than happy to tell him every damn secret I have. But
Sure.
I'm seeing way more rewarding to see the light bulb go on for someone else than it is
Right.
to be on top of the podium for me.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that's not just me BSing here. When I won the competitions, the first thing I did is I race home and tell everyone how I did it. That's what I've done when I won Extreme Venturous. I did that. So I like to share information, and this gentleman picked our brains for 4 days straight. Very not invasive, just very
Right.
very nice about it. He went home. He went to the Sportsman the next year, took first in Sportsman. Now he's up with the pros. Comes back the next year after that. This is the 4th year now. Takes second at the 100 yards in pros.
Wow.
And I just said, you're a clever dude to have strategized that. He's playing the long game, right?
Yeah.
There he is. He's up there holding the giant check with the rest of them. And I walked up to him and I said, I'm going to tell your story, dude. He's like, go ahead, tell it all you want. I was just really taken back by how clever he can be and how he chose his own strategy. There's a lot of ways to win out here. And he showed me a way that I never even thought of.
That is fantastic.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Wow. And that's why we do this podcast. It's stories like that to inspire others. And I mean, he came from a very dark spot because he was like, oh. And then he just says, wait a minute. And he just listened
Yeah.
and took notes and then made it work for him.
Yep.
That's crazy.
It's a good one. If he's here, I'll point him out, and then you get him on the podcast.
Sounds good.
And ask him to tell his side of the story.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
All right. I'm real curious on this one. Bill.
I can tell by your face.
What advice or encouraging words would you give all the listeners, and it doesn't have to be air guns, just from the heart?
When you're out here and we're shooting our 25 targets, anyone can have a fun time, or anyone has an easy time of it if they're hitting bullseyes, 9s, 8s. It's easy to win. I would say if you want to really get good at this discipline, and anyone for that matter, it's not a mark of who has the best card. It's a mark of who can overcome that horrible shot early on their card. When I look up and someone missed everything, a 0, a 3, a 4, and then I see them group themselves, gather their wits, and go ahead and create a dang good card after that, that's a person that I want at my table having dinner. That's a person I want to talk to and be friends with. That's a person that has character and like inner strength. And that's what I would say. You're not defined Yeah, I'm gonna be a little more cliche here,
Sure.
but you're not defined. Anyone can win. Anyone can win graciously. Can you lose graciously? Can you say thanks? Can you say congrats to the guy who beat you that day, or who had a better day than you? And can you overcome that moment when you land a 4 on your first shot and you feel that stab right to the guts? Oh
yeah.
It just levels you. Pause, regroup, and remind yourself this is a dang good time. And if you're not doing, even if I didn't make the finals this year, like I said, but my mindset has changed about this. I'm looking at this hobby through a different lens than I used to. A lens where I had to kind of be top brass, the lens where I had to prove myself out here. I'm really not in that mindset anymore, and I've never been happier in my whole life. So take your victory, enjoy your victory, celebrate your victory, but don't need it to enjoy this place.
Right.
That would be my piece that I would give people.
You know what the motto is this year for the Airgun Geeks, and it's been for a while. Have fun and don't come in last.
Well, I achieved both those.
Yes.
This year.
Nice. Mission accomplished. Well done, Ted.
And I don't know if you paid attention, but I like to boast in front of you. I actually made it to speed finals.
Get out.
Yep, with my Leshy.
Against all them crazy young kids.
Bill says I pushed out some people. I'm not going to think about all that.
Unless she's semi-auto.
Yeah,
Change
it's
it.
30.
I was wondering when one of them going to show up.
With an immersive optics prism scope, 10 by 24.
What power are you using? Low power?
10.
10 power. Oh, 10 by
power.
24, right.
10 by 24, that's it. And I have not touched the parallax at all.
I fixed Leshy 2, right?
It's a Leshy 2.
If you did it with a Leshy 1, I'd be really
Yep,
impressed.
3. I know, right? He is fast. And I'd have to refill. I was shocked, but not, because it's what we do. We pest all the time, and that's my pesting gun. So first time I ever put a bipod on it, I took the laser off, and I'm like, all right. And he's just like, do it. I lost 2 lanes because one, my head got into it a little bit, and then I shot the target 3 times instead of twice. But I was right behind.
Well, you are doing well. Us old farts we've been getting our butts handed to us by these young guys for the last 2-3 years.
It's crazy, yeah.
I didn't even enter it assuming failure. But if you could do it, I could do it.
Well, I'm a semi-young fart. The beard gives the hair on my face, but I'm only 44.
Well, I didn't think you were. Compared to the 18-year-olds.
The 18s, yes. There's some young whippersnappers.
No, I'm not saying you look like an old man. I'm saying for speed last year, 44 looked pretty old.
Yeah,
I mean,
but true. Compared with Hatfield, yeah, he's a baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, he looks.
Yeah.
It's weird to get your ass kicked. Sorry for my language.
Yeah.
By someone that looks like you should be mentoring.
I know, right?
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, as long as I don't miss, I can shoot. I can pull a trigger faster than he can cock that gun.
Yeah. I never shot a Leshy too. Before you leave,
Let me know.
I'd like to pull a
Oh,
trigger
yeah.
on your gun if you don't mind.
Oh yeah,
Cool.
yeah. That's one of my favorite guns, and they're very. You would be impressed on the way the valve works.
The leap from 1 to 2
It's huge.
is massive.
And I have a 1 because of you,
Yeah.
with the same scope, just because. Not stalking, just admiring. And I love it. I got the 22 and the 25 barrel. And the 25 barrel, I tuned it for the same feet per second you did.
What a great speed gun.
Yes.
Yeah. Target acquisition. Boom, boom, boom,
Boom, boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
Don't miss. And with the 30, you can see the pellet.
Yeah.
So-
you can track it.
All of my misses were still kills, but not
Oh, I see.
because you're looking at a little chicken.
Yes, of course.
And it's just over the top.
Yeah.
And we were looking at the one where you got to hit it twice and it spins. It hit it so darn hard because it's 72 foot-pounds.
It wouldn't
That
settle down.
it spun and it did the jiggle, which stopped it. And then I hit it again.
Wait, so it was so violent of a spin.
Yes, that it jiggled it left and
It was
right
a little bit loose on its axle.
Yeah.
Jiggled it stopped itself.
and stopped itself.
Oh, man.
So, and they're like, well, it could stop at the top in that account. And I'm like, okay.
That
So-
was a bit of serendipity. I
Yes.
mean, if the axle would have been better with ball bearings, it'd have
It would
spun
have been
forever.
non-stop. It would have
Oh
been
yeah.
horrible.
Yeah. Yep.
Cool.
Because it was loose, it was actually an advantage.
You're tipping your hand right now, and I'm listening.
Yeah, well, I'm just here to have fun. I'm not changing that. The same shirt I'm going to wear. I'm a little superstitious with that, but I'm just going to have fun. And if I get beat, I get beat. I made it to the
if you go
finals.
with that attitude, you already won. I mean,
Yeah.
again, not being cliche, but
No, there-
if you can in speed, nothing is more frustrating than going up. And I'm not saying I ever have, but if you go other competitions I have, going up against someone who, like, you can't really celebrate your victory because they get so upset when they lose.
Yeah.
No, the guy who loses and is the first one to reach across and fist bump me, we're friends for life, me and that guy. So. Yeah, you'll do just fine, and just like you said, have fun and don't come in last.
Yeah. Correct. And the exciting part, the other part that I got to take a part of, is Lauren Parsons was in.
And speed.
In speed, she's never done it, so she was a first timer in my squad. And then we had Serena, so 2 women. And you had to drop that, I got beat by a woman thing.
Oh,
we were joking about it. I'm like, I got to go against a woman. I'm going to get my butt kicked. We reversed it. They thought we were going to go the other way. And they're like, I says, you know. And we were laughing about it, like, dang, you're fast.
Yeah, you set them up to be angry, and then that's good.
We had a good time.
Look, if they're one of the guys, they're one of the guys.
Yeah.
We're going to give them crap like everybody else.
So they're both hooked. I mean, they're precision shooters.
It's just that we were just talking about that yesterday. It's just a matter of time before the #1 spot on Extreme Venturous on precision as a woman, and I, for one, will celebrate the hell out of that day. That'll be a big day for Airgun.
Heck yeah.
It will.
Huge.
Yep.
Yeah, they even got a women's event this year.
They do.
They did.
It was just a practice.
A little practice.
Okay.
Okay, so they opened it up, but they didn't have that last year.
No,
because they were off to the side. Because I think it's intimidating for us, let alone for them to get behind and to be privately over there playing. I was watching; they were shooting good. They were shooting.
Yeah,
because they got 100 yards
scoreboard. I'm aware that they know what they're doing. Yeah.
Well, there's the 2 things this sport really needs. It needs youth, and it needs more women.
Those are,
I can tell you my demographics from my YouTube channel are 99.8% males.
25 to 54. Yeah.
Actually, mine are like 40 to 70.
Oh.
That window. I'm like, we need some ladies in this game. We need some young kids in this game.
It's half the population. We double just like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Everyone.
I mean, you probably have a wider bandwidth than that because you're a much better looking guy than I am, Ted. So
that's
naturally you're gonna bring that broader audience. But
I maybe I'll start wearing tank tops or something.
Yeah, there you go.
But no, you're absolutely on point. I definitely, and I think about that in a certain subtle way. I think about that when I make the videos to make sure I don't come across as like an alpha type kind of personality. That's really, I think a lot of women, a lot of beginners for sure, are turned off by that. Like, I don't want to go where everyone is walking around with their chest puffed out. But that's right. The fun factor, like you said, that goes a long way for bringing more people into it. You can't be a stone-faced tough guy and expect anybody else to be like, oh, that's what I want to be a part of. No, you bait them with the fun, and they get hooked on the guns then.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. We were talking to PJ Clark earlier, and we never knew that his wife actually goes with him when he goes pesting sometimes and shoots birds.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
He needs to get her on that camera too and let people know.
I've seen that. Just the last little short that I made on YouTube. My whole family was in that one. That's the first time my wife made her. She's in the background wearing a pair of white sunglasses. The whole family had white sunglasses on in the video. And just a funny little clip, but that's the first time the whole family was in it. And it was amazing how many people recognize that right away. I've never seen your wife before. Well, those are your kids. I'm like, they've been waiting for this moment.
Yep.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. So, yeah, more inclusivity, and that's kind of a sour buzzword, but let's use it for its real definition. Bring people in, and treat them right, and show them why we're having such a good time.
Heck yeah.
And if they can't figure out for themselves, I can't help them.
All right.
Yep.
You got a mastodon or whatever
You got anything extra you want to ask?
I'm good.
I'm good. Well, we want to value your time. You're a very busy man here with them spreading the smiles. I want to thank you personally for coming on the podcast.
This was a lot easier than I thought it'd be.
This is all we do, Ted.
Yeah, I'm a talker for sure.
It's just 3 guys with some water or beer at times, and we just talk. This is about the heartbeat and the culture of airgunning and how we got started. And you're a real person.
Yes, I am.
With feelings, and you're just doing it for fun. Yeah, you made some decent amount of money at it, but that was just a perk.
Yeah,
that's not what you went
exactly
into
right.
it
That's
with.
The videos that I made, the money didn't start coming on YouTube for like years after that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not like, I didn't set this up.
Yeah, it's just a passion, and it's something you did, and you shared it. I'm definitely grateful for it. You know, I went through some rough times as a cop, and I would just zone out and watch you, and be like, all right, okay, and then come back to reality and move on.
That's awesome.
So
That's awesome.
it's
If I could take a day that sucked and made it not so bad.
Yeah, you did.
That's a huge compliment.
You did.
Thank you.
and I will also say that when you disappeared for a little bit, I understood, but I was also upset
The Coyote at
because someone,
189 and the BEIRS at 361.
got you there, or you just needed
Stage
time.
number 5.
I know
Sometimes you just
no.
need to walk away for a little bit.
I know exactly what you're saying, and I take zero. I know how you're wording it. I know where your heart is when you say it,
Yeah.
and it's an absolute compliment to be like, for someone to say we missed you. I mean, most of the time on the internet, you disappear for a bit, and you come back like you've already been replaced, man. We moved on without you. And to have people ready to like open arms, I'll admit it, I got choked up. When
I was more concerned that you were not okay.
Yeah, there were some bumps in
You
life.
know,
Yeah.
like and I didn't have the connections then to go, is Ted okay? You know,
we lose family members here and there.
Yeah.
These things are, like you said, real people.
Real people.
Life happens.
That's right.
Yeah.
In case you ebb and flow, but I can tell you definitively, I'm on a really good wave right now, and I'm enjoying myself.
Excellent.
Nice.
And the other folks out there, if you don't mind, I'm
Go
going to
ahead.
take over your podcast here for a second.
Sure.
If the podcast ever asks you to be on, don't be intimidated one bit. These guys make it about as easy as possible. I could sit here for another 2.5 hours and just BS with these guys. So don't hesitate. This is a good experience, and it has my approval for sure.
I appreciate it. You're always welcome. Just get a hold of me, and I got the technology.
Yeah, you do.
We could do Zoom. We could do it however you want.
Cool.
So
Yeah, I'd like to come back. Maybe
Definitely.
once I learn something, I can teach something. Or
you have so much.
I'm pretty sure you got a lot of content you can share
I
with
probably
us.
have
Ted.
some still left in the back room there.
There's more fuel in the tank there. I'm pretty sure. And we would love to have you anytime you've got something you want to say and you want a voice. You've got it here.
Cool. Appreciate that, guys. Really, I do.
All right. Thanks, Ted. Appreciate it.
All right. See you later, guys.
Thank you. Well, Pat, I got to say that was fantastic to have been able to get Ted Beer that focused for that long. And I'm so delighted that we got to share some time with him.
Yeah, it was absolutely awesome. I hope everyone enjoyed the conversation between the three of us. It went it was priceless, and I'm glad we had that opportunity.
Absolutely.
So like always, I want everyone to remember to check out Ted Beer's channel. I know, surprisingly, not everyone knows who he is. He's got a long history, at least 14 years that I've been an air gunner, and a little longer than that. Always make sure to check out Target Forge Targets. That's targetforgetargets.net.
Yes, targetforge.net. No
There
target.
you go. No targets.
And also check out the Target Forge YouTube channel and the Airgun Geeks YouTube channel as well. I post our video content on both channels. We're trying to build Patrick's YouTube channel, so it doesn't hurt to subscribe to both. Yeah, you'll get twice the notifications, but big deal, right? It's not that big of a deal. But let's get those subscriptions to the Airgun Geeks channel, and let's also get some positive income coming this way into the podcast and also the YouTube arena as well. And you can do that by offering to join the channels and supporting us financially. So we would really appreciate that.
Definitely would. And we appreciate everyone taking the time out of their day to listen to Bill and I. And like always, stay geeky.